The Warriors took out the Mavericks in 5 games, while the Celtics edged out the Heat in 7. What started out with 16 teams is finally down to the final 2. In the West, we got Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, and in the East, we got Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics. What do the series look like? Which team will have the advantage? We're going to get into all of that today. This is the matchup analysis and prediction of the Golden State Warriors versus the Boston Celtics. First things first, let's go over the regular season matchups between the two teams. So, in the 2022 season, the Warriors and the Celtics played twice, and they both won 1 game apiece. The first game was won by the Warriors, but at that point in time, the Celtics weren't the beast they are today. I mean, they were still just a .500 team when they lost to the Warriors back in December. Then, the second game was played in the middle of March, where the Celtics clobbered the Warriors. But again as well, at that point in time, the Warriors were in a slump where they only won 6 of their last 15 games before facing the Celtics. That Warriors team and the team today in the NBA Finals are 2 completely different beasts. And with that being said, I don't think we can use any of the regular season matchups as indicators of how this series will go between these two teams. Next off, let's go over the situation. The Golden State Warriors will be as well rested as any finals team can possibly be. Since their last game played against the Mavericks, they would have had a total of 6 days of complete rest. During that time frame, it's already been reported that Otto Porter, Gary Payton II, and Andre Iguodala have been progressing really well in their injury recovery, and it's been stated that more than likely, they'll be able to play in the finals. On the other hand, the Boston Celtics just finished 2 back-to-back grueling series that both went to 7 games. In addition, they're only going to have a total of 3 days rest, and during one of those days, they'll have to board a plane and fly out to San Francisco, so that's going to cut into recovery and game planning time. The advantage here with health and preparation definitely has to go to Golden State. Moving on to the next point. Honestly speaking, if the Warriors somehow faced the Celtics in the first round, it wouldn't have been good for Golden State. To start off the playoffs, the Warriors' chemistry wasn't quite built yet because of all the injuries and the lineup changes that they had to go through, while the Celtics, on the other hand, were on a tear, winning 25 of 31 regular season games since February 1st. But since then, the Warriors built chemistry in the first round against the Nuggets, then they were tested against the grit and hustle of the Grizzlies in round 2, then in the Western Conference Finals, it looked like the Warriors started finally clicking on all cylinders as they dominated one of the bright young stars in Luka Doncic, and a team that was coached by one of the league's most cunning coaches in Jason Kidd. The Warriors seem like the best team in the league currently, while the Celtics, on the other hand, looked really formidable early on in the playoffs, but that Heat series seemed to have exposed them a bit. Look, the truth is, against a team that was basically just a one-man show, the Boston Celtics were just one Jimmy Butler 3-point shot away from potentially losing the series. Also in that Game 7 against the Heat, although Miami was hobbled, was crippled, although their 6th man of the year only played a total of 7 minutes, although the team as a whole shot 6 for 30 from 3-point range, the Celtics still just barely, and I mean barely, escaped with that win. Sheesh, guys. The Warriors must be feeling extremely confident at this moment from what they've seen, because when it comes to defense, the Warriors are in the same elite tier as the Heat, but when it comes to offense, the Warriors are about 2 to 3 tiers higher. So, one great question to ask is, if the Celtics could barely hold off the Heat, how are they going to hold off the Warriors? Anyway, the Celtics are more or less a 2-man show with Tatum and Brown. If those two aren't putting up big numbers on efficient shooting percentages, the Celtics won't win. And first off here, let's talk about Tatum. The primary defender on him will most likely be Andrew Wiggins. Tatum stands 6'8" with a 6'11" wingspan, while Wiggins stands 6'10" with a 7-foot wingspan. So they're both more or less equal when it comes to physical attributes. Now, I understand that Wiggins won't be able to stop Tatum, but as long as he makes him take tough contested shots, that'll be enough to hopefully decrease his efficiency. Then when it comes to Jaylen Brown, the Warriors gotta make sure he doesn't get going in transition because this dude excels in open spaces. However, when it comes to half-court sets, time and time again, as we've seen in the Heat series, he turns the ball over quite a bit when he dribbles into traffic, and what's that quote again? You know, the one that the commentators use for people who dribble around Gary Payton. Oh, yeah, it goes like, dribble at your own risk. Then after that, Draymond Green, one of the best defenders of the modern era, will anchor the defense and make sure everybody's in the proper defensive positions. And to be honest, with GP2 back in the mix and with a full week to rest up and heal, I feel the Warriors' defense will even be superior to that of Boston's. And as good as Boston's defense is, I don't think they'll be able to stop the combination of Steph, Clay, and Poole. I mean, just look at this play right here. Here's Curry on the perimeter with the ball. And check it out. Because of what this man can do, literally every defender is looking at him. Then, while they're doing that, Draymond here sets an off-ball screen for Clay to get open. And when it comes to shooting, Clay is just as good as his Splash Brother counterpart. Here's another example. Here's Curry up top with the ball. He gets the switch he wanted. He's also 30 feet away from the basket? No defender would ever expect anyone to shoot from there, but for Curry, it's just a practice shot. Curry will most likely be able to get off a shot whenever Al Horford or Daniel Theis is guarding him. Here's one more. Jordan Poole really has become a mirror image of Steph. Here he is with the ball way up top. He sees Looney and he decides to play a two-man game with him. He hands the ball to Looney, who hands it right back. Then once Poole's in position, he's just as confident as anybody in the league when it comes to knocking down these shots. Sheesh, guys. The Warriors are going to have three elite shooters who run nonstop around the court using screens and sometimes multiple screens to get open, and I just don't see Boston stopping them. The crazy thing about this is I haven't even included Andrew Wiggins into the equation yet either. I mean, just for starters, anytime Wiggins is going to be defended by either Derek White or Peyton Pritchard, it's going to look like this.
Wiggins has been good. Dinwiddie's on him. No good move.
Oh. Dang, guys. You know what that's called, right? Barbecue chicken. The truth is, this Warriors offense is going to be too much for the Celtics to handle. I mean, like I said earlier, the Celtics barely held on against a team that was essentially just a one-man show. So if they could barely hold off the Heat, what do you think is going to happen with Golden State? Especially when the Celtics are going to be bruised up from their second 7-game series, plus that short rotation that they have. Sheesh, guys. Looking at the box score from that Game 7 against the Heat, the Celtics had 4 of their starters playing 40 minutes plus. Against a Warriors team that doesn't stop running around the court, that's going to tire them out immensely. And as they wear out, they're going to make defensive mistakes, and the Warriors, like always, are going to look to capitalize during those periods of time and go on massive, and I mean massive, runs. Anyway, I have the Warriors winning the first 2 games at home, then going into Boston, they're going to steal either Game 3 or 4, then they'll finish the series in 5 games. I believe it's going to be a lot more lopsided than many ESPN analysts think, and Steph Curry will finally win his first Finals MVP, unless Andrew Wiggins plays spectacular defense on Tatum. I'm just kidding here. I'm pretty sure Curry will win it this year. Anyway, these are my predictions on how this series will turn out. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Then, have you ever wondered how the heck Jordan Poole was selected 28th overall? I mean, 27 players got drafted before this kid. It's outrageous in my opinion, and that's exactly why I made this video right here. I'm sure you'll love it, so hurry and click the video, and like always, you already know where I'm going to be, on the other side.